It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. It really is. Every day, every place. In fact, it's not just Mr. Rogers. The psalmist reminds us that when the psalmist says those wonderful words, "This is the day God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." Indeed, let's always be glad in it. And I hope in these study groups, you will find joy in the goodness of each day, that you'll simply enjoy being together. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who made this possible. A special thank you to all of our leaders, but most of all, thank you to every one of you. What makes this study worthwhile is you being together, considering who our neighbor is and how we live as neighbors. So why? Why Mr. Rogers? Why the Cardigan effect? Well, Fred Rogers, as most of you know, was a Presbyterian minister from Pittsburgh. And it would be very hard to come up with a modern day figure with more integrity, more thoughtfulness, more embrace of so many people, no matter what. Mr. Rogers affirmed people, period, without exception, in much the same way as Jesus did throughout the Gospels, where Jesus would go to people that most would ignore or exclude, and he embraced every one of them. And that's the symbol of our cardigans, that reminder that following in Jesus' way isn't just for the few, but it's for people like us. So neighbor, do you remember when Jesus was asked, what's the greatest commandment of all? Love your neighbor, just like yourself. About as important of law, rule, guide that Jesus could come by, finding neighbor, just like Fred Rogers did. Fred Rogers did much of what Jesus did, and looked to expand the idea of who our neighbor is. And throughout our study for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be using the parable of the Good Samaritan, so well known by most of us. And we're going to be using that to understand who our neighbor is, and how this week we will be talking about how to listen to our neighbor.
A legal expert stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he said, "what must I do to gain eternal life?" Jesus replied, "What is written in the law? How do you interpret it?" He responded, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your being, with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." Jesus said to him, "You have answered correctly. Do this and you will live." But the legal expert wanted to prove that he was right. So he said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Jesus replied, "A man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. He encountered thieves who stripped him naked, beat him up, and left him near death. Now it just so happened that a priest was also going down the same road. When he saw the injured man, he crossed over to the other side of the road and went on his way. Likewise, a Levite came by that spot, saw the injured man, and crossed over to the other side of the road and went on his way. A Samaritan who was on a journey came to where the man was. But when he saw him, he was moved with compassion. The Samaritan went to him and bandaged his wounds, tending them with oil and wine. Then he placed the wounded man on his own donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, he took 2 full days' worth of wages and gave them to the innkeeper. He said, "Take care of him, and when I return, I will pay you back for any additional costs." What do you think? Which one of these 3 was a neighbor to the man who encountered thieves? Then the legal expert said, "The one who demonstrated mercy toward him." Jesus told him, "Go and do likewise."
Were you listening? Or did you hear? Did you hear what the legal expert said? That the legal expert was trying to prove himself right. He wasn't so much listening to Jesus as he was waiting so he could show himself right. That's so different than what the Samaritan did. He was the one who truly listened to hear the need of the person at the side of the road. It's Mr. Rogers. We speak with more than our mouths, and we listen with more than our ears. You're going to see a clip right now about listening or the lack of listening.
He's just been really distant lately. Maybe he's scared of commitment or getting hurt. What do you think?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, Bridgewater, you're in.
Teddy Bridgewater, backup, listener.
If only there were backups in real life.
Go.
So we've been
But at least there's Progressive to protect your home and auto.
a completely different person.
You think he's scared of commitment?
Exactly.
You're not a mechanic. It's not your job to fix him.
I love that commercial. It's pretty fun. And it also lifts up something that really is a great truism in life. How often I, don't always listen the way that we should, both to words spoken and to what we see around us. How often do you feel like you're truly listened to? I wonder, how often do you feel like you or I have really listened? We're going to go to a piece from Mr. Rogers. And one of the things you might notice is, as I've been watching Mr. Rogers, it seems like, he talks so slowly. It was actually intentional. It's not just that it's an old clip. He talked slowly, had long pauses with that intentionality of listening and being able to be heard. So listen and see what you hear. Let's watch.
Oh, come, let's just sit down together here and have a little talk. I was showing my friends this graduation picture of you.
Yes.
I am so proud of you and all
you.
that you've done. How does it feel?
Good. It really makes you feel good about yourself. And I think it makes you forget about the limitations you have when you can find things that you can do.
Well, you can do lots of things, and I just heard that you're planning to be a medical secretary.
Yep.
You're in school for that now, are you?
Mm-hmm. I'll be done with it in December.
Uh-huh. And you'll have another graduation.
You bet.
Well, there are a good many children that I talk with who have disabilities that people can see. And I just wondered if some of the time in school it wasn't hard for you.
It sure was. People look at you in different ways. Some people are ready to accept you, other people aren't. What everybody has to remember is that everybody has limitations, and it doesn't matter if some are more obvious than others. And that's what might make it a little easier sometimes.
Can we listen? It matters that we listen to those we love. It also matters that we listen to those who trouble us and those that confuse us. And that's when we get into the more radical listening. So consider, as you talk with one another, about the ways faith calls us to listen. So I'm confident that if we listen well, the world will be better, but we'll also be so much better for it. Enjoy your time together.